обменивать, это этот.
На поезде уже?
Да, сейчас поезд. Пошли.
Дети, за мной. Смотри за ними. А то они из-за сныков носки.
Да. О, телега. Не знаю, куда-то гулять. На поезд, Зоя, на поезд.
And there's a platform at the front and back end of every train. Don't rush the train yet, but I'm just going to take the yellow ribbon down. So you guys are ready.
Okay, on your mark.
Don't run me over is what I really need.
On your mark.
The two that he's going to put the steps down on.
Да.
Hello, hello. Y'all excited?
Hello.
Yeah? Give me the highlight of your vacation.
We're not on.
Oh, well, it'll be the highlight of your vacation.
Что там ты можешь. Давайте здесь перевесим.
Давай туда, назад.
Назад?
Назад.
Почему?
Потому что.
Once the train starts, we just can't go to the other car. That's all.
А, там уже люди сидят.
Назад уже заняли.
Ну вот здесь. Emergency windows. Давай сюда.
Moments while we cover this important safety information. During boarding, you may have noticed exterior platforms located at the front and back of your coach cars. These platforms are not available for use within city limits. Once the conductor has given me the go-ahead, I will make an announcement and let everyone know when it is okay to step out onto those platforms. But until that time, we do need everyone to remain inside. The most important rule of our train ride is that there is absolutely no crossing from car to car. This is for your own safety. The thin metal bridge between the cars is called an apron, and it is not safe to step or stand on. You will see staff crossing from car to car, but this is not an invitation to do so yourselves. Once again, there's absolutely no crossing from car to car. Please maintain 3 points of contact when up and about, and do not rest your hands near doorways or windows, because the movement of the train can cause them to slam shut and for you to go ouch. I would like to be the first to welcome you aboard the famous White Pass and Yukon Route Railroad, constructed over 120 years ago. Today, we'll be traveling over 20 miles of narrow gauge track and climbing nearly 3,000 feet in elevation to scale the White Pass summit. Our trip will take about 3 hours, and while our train does briefly cross the Canadian border, we stay on board the entire time. So no, you do not need your passports. At the summit, our train will make a loop in the tracks, which will turn our train around so we can face the opposite direction for our return trip to Skagway. So everyone will get to see both sides of the train ride today. You'll have one side going up and the opposite coming down. During our trip, I'll be pointing out some of the scenery and sharing with you some of the history of the White Pass Railroad and the Klondike Gold Rush, which spurred its construction. My name is Alan, and I will be your tour guide and your narrator today. Joining me are 2 more fantastic tour guides, Chris and Tyler. You'll be meeting one of them soon if you haven't already, and they're going to come through your cars to greet you and point out a few of our onboard amenities. They are very knowledgeable, so please feel free to ask them any and all questions. Our engineer today is Engineer Thomas, but we will not be seeing too much of him because he's in the cab of our train driving. We will, however, be seeing our conductor, Conductor Steinke, who's in charge of our train, and assisting him, our brakeman, Devin. On your seats, you should have already found a complimentary copy of our All Aboard magazine. If not, or if you'd like any extras, additional copies are located at either the front or rear of your coach cars. These guides are full of useful information about White Pass and the Skagway area. The back cover folds out into a rail map, which you can use to follow along as we embark from Milepost 0, Skagway, Alaska, to the White Pass summit at Milepost 20.4. On our left, you will see a group of large red buildings. These are our maintenance shops, where the mechanical side of our operation is managed. This is where we maintain our rolling stock of over 80 passenger cars and 15 diesel-electric engines, including 1 steam locomotive. Each of our passenger coach cars are named after various lakes and rivers throughout Alaska, British Columbia, and the Yukon. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I do suggest taking some photos, because this is probably the most exciting thing you will see all day. And coming up on our right is the Gold Rush Cemetery. It was used from 1897 to 1908 until no space was left and then designated a historic site. Now, no trip to Skagway would be complete without learning of our local legends and heroes. 2 such men, Soapy Smith and Frank Reed. Frank Reed and Soapy Smith. Soapy, struck in the heart, would die instantly. And Frank Reed, struck in the groin, would die an agonizing 12 days later. Some say this is how Frank Reed lost his golden nuggets.
Карту изучайте, вода сзади. Бесплатная. Сколько
Just a
хочешь.
few weeks later, 3 points of contact went up and about. But do not lean on any of those chains near the platforms. and anyone under the age of 16 needs to be accompanied by a responsible adult at all times. And finally, please be aware of your fellow passengers and share that limited platform space so everyone has a chance to enjoy them. With all that said, the conductor has given us the go-ahead to step outside and make use of those platforms.
Bathrooms right here. Alan just opened up the platforms. I highly recommend going outside at some point in the journey. Do be courteous to each other to make sure everybody has a chance to go outside. John in a 500 series car, which has the largest decks out of all of our train cars. So you probably fit maybe 10 of you out there somewhat comfortably. We're just going to filter through. I promise at some point you'll see the platforms are open again. Feel free to go through.
Left shoulder for a view of the Denver Glacier Bridge, which we crossed about a mile back. Construction workers faced an enormous obstacle, a 20,000-ton wall of granite, and the tracks had to be laid through here. The project had budgeted 450 tons of black blasting powder for the entire railroad. As it turned out, over half of that stockpile was needed just to blast through this 1/4 mile section. As we emerge from Rocky Point, be sure to look over your left shoulder and deep into the valley below to see some of the most violent sections of the Skagway River. Boasting many Class 6 rapids, this section of river has been deemed unnavigable.
Там тоже железная дорога. Вот там мы тоже будем ехать.
Brackets, toll road. Toll road.
Вон там как.
Building with a blue roof. This is Skagway's very own local IHOP, our International House of Passports, also known as the U.S. Customs Building. The actual border is still 12 miles ahead of us at the summit, but Customs was built here because of the extreme climate and terrain at higher elevations, Detroit, Michigan. During the 1920s and 30s, he sponsored underprivileged boys and girls on transcontinental expeditions from Detroit to Alaska. They learned outdoor skill conduct themselves with professionalism, and a special part of their trip was riding our train. On to Alaska with Buchanan became their proud slogan, and a reunion group of the Buchanan boys painted this slogan onto the rock. workers would help build this railroad before earning enough money to continue on to the Klondike. While injuries were frequent, there were just 35 recorded fatalities that occurred on the job. Maurice Dunn and Alex Juneau had been hanging from ropes working on a massive overhang of granite when it suddenly came loose and fell on the two men, crushing them instantly. Unable to retrieve their bodies without disturbing their remains, Michael Haney marked this boulder with a wooden cross to serve as both a tribute to these two men and all the workers who died during the railroad's construction. The cross is about 50 feet below the train to our left, and it stands directly on top of the massive boulder we call Black Cross Rock, the same one that crushed Maurice Dunn, Alex Juneau, and their two pack animals, Pancake and Flapjack. Trees on our left. If you look upwards across the valley, you should be able to see what looks like a road along the mountainside. What we are seeing is not just any regular road, but as that train up there suggests, it's indeed our railroad. We call this the Highline section. It's about 3 miles ahead of us by rail and 700 feet above us from where we are now. You can even see our famous wooden trestle bridge over the deep 1,000-foot chasm of Glacier Gorge, which will lead us into our first tunnel of the day. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are headed up there. So if we are afraid of heights, well, do not worry. We will cross that bridge when we get there.
Вот, смотри, поезд с паровозом.
Вот एक ट्रेन जा रही है।
Во. Обалдеть.
Вау. Famous wooden bridges. देखो the corner में।
We do have to slow down and make some space so we can pass that train that was coming down on the other side of the ridge there. As you may have noticed, there's only one track on most of the railway. So these are one of the few sections we can actually pass another train. With that being said, once we do pass this train, please feel free to wave wildly at them and let them know that we are having a much better time than they are. Valley. Once we clear this bridge, we'll begin our climb up the Highline section. Now, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, today is a very special day because it is not every single day we have some of these mountains in full view. Looking forward and to the left, you can see a big pillow of snow with some roughness to it and maybe some slight blue discoloration. This is the Carmack Glacier, the same one that feeds Bridal Veil Falls that we saw just a few miles back. And way over your left-hand shoulder, and just slightly behind you, are the Sawtooth Mountains. These are the tallest mountains in the area at over 7,000 feet in elevation. Thousands of years ago, a massive glacier filled the valleys we see around us today. As the glaciers flowed towards the ocean, the incredible weight shaped and smoothed the mountainsides and valleys beneath the ice, but they weren't high enough to reach the peak. trestle bridge across the glacier gorge. We are approximately 1,000 feet above the valley floor, and down to the left side, you will have my personal favorite view from the entire train as it takes us into our first tunnel of the day. This tunnel is 250 feet in length, so be prepared for a few moments of darkness. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if we are afraid of the dark, you can do what our engineer does and just close your eyes.